Okay, hey guys, this is John with Sacred Tree, the Sacred Tree of Life, and today is going to be Factual Friday. So we're going to be talking about things that we were never really talked about in school, things that we need to start looking at for what they are, and today is going to be a little bit different because what we're going to do is we are going to figure out the lineages of who our rulers are today, where they originated, and some of our founding fathers aren't the people whom they portrayed within our literature books within the United States. So what we're going to be talking about today is how this all got situated, how they were able to do specific things, where their lineages came from, how it emerged, and then we'll speak about some of the founding fathers, because some of the founding fathers that we know today are actually are more or less they were part of the Kabbalists from back in the 12th, 13th century when it first began, but they actually shattered as time went on. And then they started seeing a messianic person and they started following him. So what's funny is these people that followed this messianic person then shifted off to become a new group. Now, after these groups formed, these people were more into blood magic and rituals of that sort. So, and then after the European nations found out the type of people they were, they started exposing them and then forcing them out of their countries. So Christopher Columbus was one. He was one of the main ones that was expelled from Spain. And we're going to get into him. We're going to get into where his lineages came from, and then figure out from the very baseline where Kabbalah came, at that point where it shifted from the true Kabbalah to blood magic, and then how the Jewish and the Frankists are now separated, so they aren't together anymore. And this has been from back then, during this Messianic age. And then new people came in, and then next thing you know, they started having other Messianic people, to where it branched off even farther away from the true Kabbalah Jewish, if you understand what I mean. So it's like multiple branches off of the original Kabbalah, and most Jews don't even know this, because people don't really take the time to learn about their lineages. And I come across this a few years ago. I read one of the books, I think it was Columbus and the Cannibals. I think that's where I got a lot of the information that I got, and then I picked up some parts and pieces elsewhere, and then I went from there. So I made like a slideshow. I still don't understand OBS yet, so that's going to be one of my next things I'm going to start working on, to figure out OBS, to be able to do like a platform through the computer, to be able to do a spreadsheet and show, I don't even know what this is called, it's PowerPoint. So more or less like a slideshow to do the explanations of where they came from, who they are, how it branched off, what led them to where they're at today, who are these people, and so on and so forth. So, long story short, today is going to be about Kabbalah magic, golems, and Christopher Columbus, which Christopher Columbus was not his original name. So what a lot of people don't understand today, what they did, a lot of these Frankist Sabateans that came here, they are like, I call them almost like crypto Jews, because they aren't really Jews, but they claim they are Jews. So they're more like a crypto Jew, so they claim that they are, but they aren't, if you get what I mean. So he was like, so when you think about it like that, that's where people today just believe there's only one sect, and there isn't. So as we get into it, Kabbalah is an esoteric method that is also called the school of thought in Jewish mysticism. Jewish Kabbalists originally developed their own transmission to define the inner meaning of Hebrew Bible and rabbinic literature. Kabbalah emerged in the 12th and 13th century. Isaac Lurid was considered the father of contemporary Kabbalah during the 20th century. Up to interest in the Kabbalic text, he was led to the Jewish historian Groshem Shalom, or Isaac Luria, inside the religious circles as the lion. So he is considered like the lion to them. And it's funny because if you haven't noticed today, they a lot of people are putting like the Jesus character with the lion. So it's showing that that's who their sect is, because it's Grosher Shalom. He was German-born Israeli philosopher, historian, and regarded as a founder of modern Kabbalah today as we know it. The first professor of the Jewish mysticism at the Hebrew University Esoteric Writing, and encouraging the application of the Jewish interpretation of the ideas, writings of letters and numbers, which is Jewish mysticism, that is gematria. So there's a lot of things that he actually started teaching as a professor in like the later part of the years. So this knowledge is restricted to a very small group of people. And a lot of people still claim that it's not true. But what's funny, the CIA relinquished a document this past year about the Elders of Zion. And people claim it's like bullshit. But the thing is, why would the CIA have a document that was put out that was classified for so many years? And Henry Ford, I think, was one of the main people that actually put the CIA on top of this Elders of Zion movement. And if you look, you can look it up. You can Google it. It's the Elders of Zion. And it's the CIA released it as a document. I don't know when. It hadn't been very long ago. So the words are transformative, and they are a secret magical grimoire. So what people don't understand, all these different books are nothing more than a grimoire. And if you don't know what a grimoire is, it's a book of mystical practices, and it could even, like the King Solomon, he had his own grimoire. And that book is so dark. Moses had his own grimoire, and all these big people have their own grimoires. And that's what Kabbalah, the Talmud, and the Holy Bible is, a grimoire, but they claim it is the book of God. And maybe some of it is good to know, but most of it is a grimoire. It's like a black magic spell to be able to manipulate the mind and the people of the masses. It's a branch of Jewish mysticism, tradition, and to use of magic, and that's magic with a K, only reserved for the elite, who could separate its spiritual source from the realms of evil if performed under certain circumstances. And this is practical Kabbalah today. These teachings include divine and angelic incantations. Isn't it funny that the Jewish religion forbids divination, but the Talmud lists tons? So there's all these interpretations of divination and speaking to spirit, but Moses, good God Almighty, you should see the lost books of Moses. That fucker, he was crazy. He had some, if you had some form of cancer or you had eye problems, what you would do is, it's been a couple years since I went through some of his spells that he would do. So what you would do is you would somehow do something to an animal, cut it up, and then leave parts of it above the door for another animal to eat. And then that animal somehow, it's really strange, to be able to get your eyesight back. So they would put spells on it and allow other animals to pick up these cancers that they would put in these incantations to get rid of cancer out of your body. And that's part of the grimoires of Moses. So based upon dreams from the Talmudic times using esoteric names within angels. Now we're seeing a new age movement that if it's nothing more than a new age. So people now are saying, oh, this is the new age or the truther movement. Well, they still claim so many ideologies even though they're still stuck inside. So they had a cage, they come out of that cage, but now they're just in a new cage. They're not out of the cage. So it's like from one cage to another cage, and then you're going to open the door and probably even end up in another cage before too long because people still can't break down the cycles. What if the rage of ascension is nothing more than a black magic incantation? Think about it. So we want to assume of something, but what if like the ascension process is just us growing together with the universal forces rather than ascension to be something else? Does that make sense? So consciousness in ascension makes you look outside of yourself rather than looking inside and finding yourself from the within. So when you're over here always looking for the ascension process, you're always still more of like a messianic era ideology. So you're still out here thinking about the outside of yourself and not the inner side of yourself. Within the 13th century, the Astrakani Jews was possibly the creation of the life through magical means derived from the Babylonian Talmud tractate, the Sanhedrin. They used the work of Golem to where they are given life by means of magical invocations of divine and angelic names. The Talmud says the sage made a person by using creative forces of the Hebrew letters. They create a triple calf that they ate for a celebration. What's funny, have you ever seen like the old school, some of the first where they was talking about when you go into, when like the Christ figure would go into these temples. Well, at that point, they would have like the hooves, not the hooves, but the horns of the cows, and they would have all these animals lined up for sacrificial magic. And that's the truth. You can look it up. And then these people would be buying these animals that were on these hooks from these rabbis to take home and then slaughter to the god. Excuse me. What if I was to say they are making people to eat them for adrenochrome? So what if that's part of this fix to where people are over here assuming that they're just doing it for that purpose? What if it is actually to keep them alive for longer, for healthier, so they don't get sick? So what if these people actually are doing this for like an adrenochrome fix rather than the cannibalism altogether, if you get what I mean? So there's many hidden aspects within the blood. There's always people speaking of the blood. Blood's always in all these stories, and there's always killings, there's always massacre. It's always the blood. The blood is more of a magic, if anything, because your blood holds resonance, it holds certain attributes, and if you get certain parts of the body, it's actually it holds more of the adrenochrome in certain aspects. So these are non-human golems. So what they create are like these magical things that are non-human to be able to get this adrenochrome fix. Now, what's funny is that took me back to that one time that I saw me in that tub and the aliens were using me in another lifetime. So was that part of this and just like a later part? Who knows? It could be other timelines. So it could be. Now, practical Kabbalah thrived in Spain the second half of the 15th century. The traditions were interesting. Also, it dealt with demonology and the use of coercive inactions to summon demons, angels, and in order to hasten the Messianic age. Okay, so what the 15th century was mainly doing was like pushing this Messianic age into formation. And in March of 1492, there was Abrahamic decree ordering expulsion of certain Jews from Spain immediately. Well, what people don't understand is it's not all Jews that was forced out of Spain at this point. It was only the people that have split off from the true Kabbalah ideology. It was the ones that are now doing harm for people. And that's where we get into. So did you catch the year that I just said, 1492? Think about it. 1492 was when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So when he sailed the ocean blue, it wasn't because he wanted to come see the New World. It's because his ass was expelled from Spain, because he was over here doing some wicked ass shit. And what was happening is there was so many things that was happening behind the scenes, and the monarchy found out what they were trying to do, and they found out that what they were doing was killing animals and sacrificing things and blood magic, trying to overtake their monarchy. And so they were dangerous. They were people to be looked at as dangerous. So what they did is they forced them out of their country. So why were they expelled? They were plotting to use magic to overthrow the world and slavery, human trafficking. So they had this whole agenda, and they were trying to force this agenda back then. And that's what people don't understand. So we're in the modern day today, and they already was trying to plan this shit to do to another country hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Well, and what if it happened before then, but we just don't have the historical evidence? You get what I mean? Because this could have already happened before, but they only allow the Goyim to know so much. And with that said, the Goyim only gets pieces of the pie. It's not the full pie, it's always pieces of it. So I'm giving you a piece that I found that I thought would really blow your mind, because this is shit that's not taught. So what's funny, Christopher Columbus, his name is actually Cristobal Colon. Now what's funny about him, and as he was known for taking a new group of this specific sect of Jews, supposed Jews, to bring them on a voyage. And he was actually paid a sum of $100,000 to bring these people here. And these people claimed that they were Christian because that was during the Christian movement within the Roman times. So what they did was they came here claiming they were Christian, but they were actually the Frankist Sabateens. Okay, so now the men have discovered America, influencing the foundations of our nation, because they were expelled from Spain for the interest in demonology and doing incantations to summon demons, angels, and even gods to hasten the Messianic age. So think about it. Okay, so what's happening today? They are doing that today. It's like time relinquishing itself. So we're forcing this new age of what they wanted to do. So it didn't happen then. So what they've done is they've thought this out, and they've been trying to force this new age into the new world. So what they came, so the demon and angel summoners fled to America, where they continue there to work to this day. They first tried to stay in Brazil, but they were not allowed to stay, so they came here instead. So there was many other places that Christopher Columbus set sail to, and that they were looked at, and they were more or less thrown out because they knew what the fuck was going on, and they were crazy, and they were mean, and they would kill your family, and and from all the stuff that I've read, they were cannibals in some form. So they were not only just killing your family and stealing your family stuff, but they were actually killing your family and eating your family as well. And what's funny is, if you look at historical documents, they say, well, Christopher Columbus came across cannibals, like in the Bermuda area, right? Well, what's funny, every place that he went, they claimed was cannibals in like the Bermuda and the Caribbean and stuff like that. Why? It was him. He went down there and he ate their ass, and then he left. But they don't tell you the whole story. They tell you pieces of the story, and the story is there, but people just don't take the time to really find out the true facts within who is Christopher Columbus. His name is Cristobal Colon. In the 16th century, Isaac Luria evolved forms of exorcism and transferred black magic to a new practical Kabbalah. So as he got here, what they started doing, and what that is now today, is theosophy. Do you know what theosophy is? Okay, theosophy is Aleister Crowley, John Dee, Madame Blavatsky. They were like the main creators of theosophy. And this new modern calling in demons and entities and all this other stuff to be able to relay information, because they're like, they didn't care if they were calling in demons. And if you look at Aleister Crowley's stuff, he has lists of all the demons he communicated with. Same with Madame Blavatsky, same with John Dee. There's some really cool, interesting stuff about John Dee and one of the queens at one point. I don't remember which queen off the top of my head, because I don't really give a fuck about the monarchy. They're all crazy. They're all probably reptilian, and they all probably do weird shit because they have the reptilian mind. So what's funny, there are stories about what John Dee did. There was a war about to go down and take over the monarchy of London, and he did this big incantation to his or her god, his god or the queen's god, whoever the god was they were dealing with. And they did this incantation, and what happened was there was a big bubble that came out of the ocean, and it swallowed all the ships, and they all sunk, and everybody died. And that was the last you ever heard of those people in those ships. And I don't remember which book it was that I read this out of, but this was in like old grimoires of either John Dundee or the Queen. Or maybe it was a blend between the two, and then somebody picked up the two and figured out between the two. That could have been too. But he was a powerful person. And what's funny is most people thought like Aleister Crowley was the shit. But John Dundee was working for the monarchy. He was like their bitch, and he knew his shit. And what he would do was he would do these incantations to keep the rule alive. Shit, their rule has been going on for how long? There is hardly any monarchies now, but that bitch is still thriving. She's what, 150 years old? That bitch ain't never gonna die. She probably ain't. And if she does, she's probably gonna come back as her grandchild or something. She'll probably just like go out and come right back into the next body and then take over the throne again. You watch. She's some weird ass crap. So today they adapted into the theosophy from Tibetan as an emanation or to manifest upon. Experienced practitioners of the occult can produce thought forms that serve as projections that may or may not even look like the person who is projecting them. All projections are rooted through ritual magic across the cultures. Now, here's a good question for you. What if we are nothing more than they're nothing more than Golem or Tolpe created only for one purpose, looking like human or soulless avatars doing the deeds of one that it was created through ritual magic. So, did you get that? So, what if they aren't really even human? What if they are just like golems, soulless avatars, and then these entities can jump in and use them? Have you not looked at Biden lately? That man is like whacked the fuck out. I mean, think about it, guys. That man is like going with the wind. His mind is gone. And when he gets on stage now, it's like after a few minutes, his body just like gets so like overwhelmed. It just like freezes. And it's probably because he could be a soulless avatar. I mean, think about it. It is what it is. We live in a realm that most people can't even fathom at this point. And it's still hard for me to even talk about it. And it is what it is. And when I was first reading about it and studying about it and then seeing certain things coming out of people and then analyzing it for what it truly is rather than what somebody else was telling me about, that's when you start knowing that shit's real and shit's going down and shit's all around And we need to figure the fuck out what's going on, because if not, we need to study it, we need to know it, and we need to know what we need to do from this point forward. Because there are so many manipulations within society today, and I think it could have all been triggered by these Frankist Sabateens that branched out to do their own thing away from the Judaism. And that's these people. So they claim they're Jewish, they're theosophists. They have their own religion. They call upon the demons of the dark, and that's where they get their energy. That's where they perform their magic. That's those things that I saw that came out of the earth that was so big with them big ass claws. I saw the group like conjuring them things up, and that's what this magic shit that they do forces, like these portals to create and manifest these things to come out and then use us. And they only use the good people of society. So let's keep on going. Always remember, it's always been about creating cultural or political change by black magic. So everything that we see today has always been about things that we thought was true. But what if it wasn't true at all? You get what I mean? Sorry, I'm trying to do this. So if you think about it, right, when you're over here doing these things and all these different things have been formed. Now, what's funny is in the 16th century, they evolved these forms through this one man. And that was their new, like, Messiah at that time. And what's funny is, see, a lot of Orthodox Jews still does not believe that Jesus ever showed up. Whether people want to claim that he has or not. True Judaism does not believe the Jesus that they talked about has ever been here. They don't believe that he was the Messiah. And one other good thing. Now, when you're over here thinking about it for what it is, so that means the Jewish people are still waiting for the Messianic age, because they are trying to create this Messianic age. And so they always keep it to where they can force people in and force people out, right? And it's just funny how things have been manipulated to the point to where we just assume things. Now, what's funny, okay, if you think about it for what it is and how this was first created and how he came here to do certain things. And so these people came here on a mission. They came here and they created this new form of theosophy. And theosophy, and what's funny is a lot of people is like shifting back and forth. They want you to go from Christianity to this, to that, and then theosophy. But the thing is you can go back and forth, but you still don't understand the underlying barriers within it. And with Hermetics, yeah, I do understand within Hermetics, they do claim that everything, where's the difference? Okay, so when we say it's hot outside, what is the point of hot and cold? Is it here? Is it here? Or is it here? Everybody has a different interpretation. So, with that said, that's the Hermetics angle at it. So, if everything is at a state, and if you call upon a demon, how do you know that he's way over here when he might actually could help you? And so you have to think of it like that. And so a lot of people moved into the Messianic age assuming, okay, well, what we're going to do is everything that we see today through like the stages where they do those art shows with the looking like a bunch of people doing the cannibalism, this is these people. They have been doing this all along. And the reason that we celebrate Thanksgiving for Christopher Columbus, which is Cristobal Colon, is because he was the first large group of these Sabateans that broke off of Judaism to create their own way with like dark black magic rituals. And so with that said, every year we're over here celebrating cannibals. We're over here celebrating that they came over here, probably slaughtered all of my heritage and ate my heritage and took over my heritage's land, and we're supposed to support it? I mean, really? So I almost look at Thanksgiving, like when they show the Thanksgiving with the Indians and him, I almost think of like an Indian literally being eaten on the table at this point. That's how sick he was and his group of people were at that time. So there's a few other books that I did come across that was speaking about the back up stage of where this led to, how our country was supported by this movement, and then that created y'all stop. That created this new age. My dog's, the UPS is here. So I'm going to have to finish up some other day with this, but I thought it would be something great for you guys to really think about, ponder about it, because don't believe me, do your own research. And that's what I've done, because I don't believe many people all the time, right? So I'm going to let it off there. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. And this is the Sacred Tree of Life. If you have any questions or comments, you can always throw them in the comments, or shoot me a like. Bye, guys.